Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Alexandra. I'm a professional fashion designer, pattern cutter, and creative consultant. And this, my friend, is the first in our three-part beginner series for unleashing your inner fashion designer. Now, the tips and tricks I'm going to be teaching you over the next 3 videos have all been taken from our 3-day design challenge, where we deep dive into this on a whole different level. So if you're interested, please feel free to enroll. Enrollment's open all year round, and you could actually be in with a chance of winning prizes, let alone joining me for live one-on-one workshops and getting direct bespoke feedback from this guy, industry professional, who's got 2 thumbs and is an industry professional, this guy. So today we are going to be answering a creative brief. I'm going to be walking you through visual research techniques, and then we're going to be compiling it all into a really pretty, cohesive, aesthetically pleasing mood board. Now, I want to put a massive disclaimer out there, my friend. This is not the only way to design clothes. We cover all of that inside the DPL Atelier. But for now, I want you just to take a breath. I want you to settle in, because even if you doubt your creative skill, the next 3 videos are going to unlock something powerful within you. You only need a pencil and a piece of paper, obviously internet connection, but if you're watching this, you've already got that. And we are going to be answering the following brief. I would like you to design one look inspired by what you wanted to be when you were little. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth does this have to do with fashion? And I don't blame you, but trust the process. I think I need that printed on a t-shirt. Trust the process. I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to walk through it together, my friend. So how do you even answer that as a brief? And again, you might be watching this thinking that is not an industry brief. You might be watching this thinking, is that really what you get told when you're designing for the runways? This is aimed at you, my friend. And if you're watching this, I'm hoping you are a hobby sewist. I'm hoping you're an unsure creative. And even if you have industry experience, you can enjoy these next 3 videos as a way to dust off the cobwebs and just lean into being creative. This is about having some experimentation, thinking of original ideas, and playing with concepts so that you can develop them and potentially add them to your wardrobe, so that you can build a dream wardrobe that is designed by you, made by you, and worn by you, and you can feel great in the clothes you create. So, while I've been giving you a TED Talk, have you had time to think of your answer to the brief? And it really is that simple. My answer to the brief is mounted police. Now, this had absolutely nothing to do with being on the right side of the law and being a stand-up citizen and helping those in need, and had everything to do with the fact I could ride a horse for a job when I was little. But your answer might be an astronaut, a mermaid. It doesn't even have to make sense, but it definitely has to be a starting point. And so what I want you to do is get a piece of paper, scrap piece of paper, and your pencil, and I want you to start by plotting that word down in the center. First, we start with a mind map. So this is key to unlocking hidden connections. For example, my starting point, as we know, was mounted police. From there, I'm jotting down associated keywords: horses, tax, saddles. I looked at the origins of saddles, like in Mongolia, China, and Assyria. I explore concepts like riots, gas masks, breathing apparatus, and medical equipment. This led me to Da Vinci's diving suit, which was pretty cool, and I noticed a unique blanket stitch around the mask, which further connected me to embroidery, and eventually I had a look at embroidery artists. So can you see how one thought flows into another? I like to call it falling down the rabbit hole, but think of it like 6 degrees of separation. Now, use the keywords from your mind map to gather inspiring images. Focus on texture, color, and silhouette. Really important keywords there. Websites like Pinterest are fantastic for this because they suggest related content. So you can continue exploring this falling down the rabbit hole concept. And the connections are endless when you let your curiosity guide you. You can go as far afield as you like. I just want to reiterate that this is one method of designing clothes, and the purpose of the design brief is simply to act like a springboard for inspiration. So, here are a few tips with your research. Don't look at existing clothing. I know, it doesn't make sense. We are designing fashion. But while this isn't the only way to design, I do encourage beginners to avoid focusing on garments. This will help you uncover original ideas and find your true aesthetic. Again, trust the process, and I'll be showing you how to bring unique designs to life in the next video. Number 2, if you hit a dead end, attach words like art, photographer, or design to your keywords. For instance, gas mask art or quartermark design, which are the patterns brushed into a horse's hindquarters, can lead me to unexpected fashion ideas. The patterns on the quartermark designs actually reminded me of brocade or jacquard fabric. So, number 3, find alternative angles in your images. Look at the underside of a saddle, zoom in on a horsehair, look at macro photography. It's a great way to find new textures. Now that we're at this stage, it's all about refining your research. I know that sounds contradictory because the first thing we need to do is gather a multitude of images so that we can stay inspired. But then it comes to the point of refining it because ultimately we want to design something that's cohesive, that isn't overwhelming. Unless you're a maximalist, that's totally fine. But we still need to cut through the noise of our research. And so even though you can only see several images on this screen, I would expect you to have quadruple the amount of images. So what I want you to do is go through this process and repeat it as much as you need to until you feel happy with your final body of work. So this is just my preliminary research. What I then want you to do is delete any duplicate. So we want to consider texture, color, and silhouette. Don't forget this. But I want you to delete any duplicates that aren't offering you clear inspiration. This saddle here, for example, has some really interesting silhouette going on. And what I mean by that is the kind of outline and the shape of the subject. And so I've got some really interesting silhouette. It obviously is giving me color. And in terms of the textile and the material, there is texture going on here as well. Now, even though I've done the right thing here by looking at a different saddle from a variety of angles, they don't all inspire me. And so I'm going to delete. That's literally a duplicate anyway, so I can delete that one. And I think because this one is a side view, this one is a front view, I'm going to delete that one as well. Over here, I've got some embroidery art from an artist that puts these beautiful beaded embellishments onto black shopping bags. I think I prefer this kind of beaded gold to this floral thread. So I'm going to delete that because they're two of the same. Unless they are inspiring me in completely different ways, selecting your research images for your mood board is a case of whittling down prime real estate. Your mood board should really have your strongest imagery and your strongest inspiration. So this little dude over here with his horse gas mask on, I can get rid of him. I can get rid of, I've got two horses with armor on here. I'm going to select the one that I find more inspiring, which is this one on the right. So I'm going to get rid of him. Although I like the colors in this graffiti, which has been taken from the 6 degrees of separation in terms of my riot, I'm not overly sure. The only thing I'm getting from this really is the color. I don't think this as a silhouette is going to be strong enough. Another top tip is to not confuse basic geometry for silhouette. So this has got a lot of interesting lines going on, as does this vertebrae here. Really interesting silhouettes. If I was looking at something that was a circle or a square, like this over here, this is very, very basic in silhouette. However, it could absolutely count as texture because there is a fabric manipulation leather work technique going on here that could count as texture. When we come to translate these into garment design in the next part of this 3-part series, I will be showing you how to combine texture, color, and silhouette into fashion design. And if you are trying to combine a basic geometric shape into an original new garment design, you're going to have difficulty making that something exciting, something original, and something fresh. So just bear that in mind. Geometry does not count as silhouette in the context of this design method. Another thing I'm going to get rid of here is Banksy. That's not really inspiring me, so I'm going to delete that. Now, if I come over to my riding boots, I'm personally going to delete these anyway because they're not inspiring me. However, we are designing garments, not accessories. So through your research, if you have something like a handbag, if you have something like a hat or a piece of jewelry, keep that in, that's okay. If you have a garment, a coat, a dress, a skirt, trousers, a t-shirt, whatever that is, I would advise deleting it at this stage. So I'm going to delete those boots purely because they're not inspiring me. And same over here, there's not much that I'm pulling from this image that is texture, color, or silhouette. Every single image on your mood board, as we refine our research, should be ticking a box on texture, color, or silhouette. Now, what I view to what you view are going to be very different experiences. We're all going to look at the world through our unique lens. And so again, inside the 3-day design challenge, I'm there to support you. You can submit your mood board design. I can give you bespoke one-on-one feedback. But for the purpose of this, just take on the tips and tricks I'm giving you and see if you can apply it to your own work. Now, I quite like this image. There's a lot going on with the harness on the horse. I like the silhouette of this stirrup with a cutout by here and the straps running through and the grip on the stirrup plate here. That's quite interesting. I'm not getting much from the tack up here. And this is very, very simple in terms of silhouette, texture, and color as well. So I'm going to delete that too. So can you see how we can start to really refine our research into a clearer body of work? And I want you to repeat this process until you have a final selection of images that we can then start to incorporate into a cohesive mood board. So when it comes to creating your mood board, do it in any format that feels good for you. In a digital sphere, you can use free templates from platforms like Canva. You can create a Pinterest mood board, or for something more advanced, as you can see here, I am using Photoshop. But beyond teaching tutorials online, I actually love the physical cut and stick method, where you are printing off your images and you are arranging them in a collage composition on a page. I've achieved the same effect here just by Photoshop tools, by removing backgrounds and layering it on each other. However, with a physical mood board, you can include real fabric swatches, real trims, and it becomes a very tangible experience. Now, you're going to notice here that I actually have 2 mood boards. I always make more than 1 mood board because they are a bit of a working document, but I will also make changes and tweaks to constantly strengthen it. So I'll walk away, I'll come back to it, and I'll reassess and try to improve the composition. So tips to do that include refining your color palette. You're going to see here between the two that I only have 4 colors on my stronger mood board than I do here. We are designing one look for the purpose of this design method and design brief. And by incorporating 8, 9, 10, 11 colors, that's very overwhelming. And so I would refine your color palette to no more than 4, 5 at a push, but the 5th color could be an accent color, just so that it stays nice and cohesive and focused. Secondly, feel free, if you have a little look as I toggle between these mood boards, to rotate your images. This is going to give you different silhouettes to choose from. You do not have to place things in the logical parameters of how that image was taken. Just with our research images, when we're trying to find different angles and different perspectives, rotating your images, like I've done with this vertebrae here, versus the first board, where this is kind of logically as it is, can really help you pull out silhouette when we come to design. Now, a common mistake I see many beginners make is not having enough silhouette in their mood boards. And so what this is going to do when you come to pull ideas in the next video in this series is it's really going to hinder you in creating something original and new. You'll also notice here that I've replaced this image. I've removed it altogether, so you can still go through the process of editing down your mood board and playing around with what feels strong, what inspires you, not forgetting that every image on this page should be inspiring you in a unique way and is prime real estate. And so ensuring you have that balance between texture, color, and silhouette is really important. But if you err on the side of doubt or caution, then I would make sure that you have more silhouette than the other two. Because again, this is going to help you pull ideas from your mood board and support you in the garment design process. So with these tips and your own evolving boards, you'll be ready to fuel your design process in no time. And there we have it. We have rounded off the first of our 3-part video series, helping you unleash your inner fashion designer with beginner-friendly techniques. Let me reiterate, this is not the only way to design clothes, but it is the most simple and powerful. So by the end of this video, you should have your answer to the creative brief, even if it is just one word that I hope you have started to understand is a domino effect into a world of inspiration. You should spread your wings and fly, fall down that rabbit hole, and gather as much visual research imagery as you can to keep you inspired as we continue this creative journey. And when you're ready, you can implement the tips and techniques taught in this video to bring it all into a cohesive mood board, ready to proceed in next week's task. We are going to be finally translating all of these random ideas into high-end clothing design. And so again, trust the process, my friend. Let me know in the comments down below how you got on with this. And next week, we're going to be pulling our 3 cornerstones, which is texture, color, and silhouette, and we are going to be applying it to original garment ideas so that you can add pieces to your wardrobe that are not only made by you, but designed by you as well. It's all very, very exciting. Of course, it goes without saying, click subscribe, turn on the notifications so that you do not miss a trick in this upcoming series. And for now, stay safe, keep creative, and I will catch you on the flip side.